Hi everyone. So I thought I would give an update on basically on how I'm feeling after my hysteroscopy surgery that I had yesterday. So we're one day post surgery. I actually put makeup on because I'm feeling okay. Like I still feel like, I don't know if you can see my eyes. I can tell in my eyes. Like I still feel a bit like, I don't know, tired, like sleepy from the anesthetic and everything like that. But I mean, overall, I'm not like in like too much pain or anything. So I decided to put some makeup on and film this as quick as I can do it because I'm not that good at doing things very quick. But anyways, so okay, and my arm, like I could only use my right arm to film because my right I can only use my right arm to film because my left arm got the IV and it's really sore. So hopefully my right arm doesn't get too sore. So anyways, I had the hysteroscopy yesterday and it was 2.5 hours away from where I live because it's like the only out of hospital clinic that does it. I don't know if that's in Ontario or I don't know, but anyways, close to us, that's the only out of hospital clinic that does it. And that is through our fertility clinic. So it's just another location of our fertility clinic that we went to. So it's like they have like a center of minimally invasive surgery. So anyways, so yesterday, 6 a.m., that's when our day started. And I'm going to switch to my left arm for a little. I took lorazepam, so like a sedative, basically, at around 6 a.m. Just to calm my nerves because I was super nervous, and a lot of people were telling me, oh, don't worry, it's not like a huge procedure, like don't worry. But that's easy to say when you've never had anything done in your life before, and maybe you've already been through it, so you know. But when you're coming from a spot where you don't know what to expect, your just mind starts going. So anyways, I took that lorazepam at 6 a.m. and just to help me with the drive there to Mississauga, because that's a 2.5 hour drive, and then just the nerves for the surgery. So it worked wonders. Like I was kind of nervous about that too because I've never really taken anything like that, like sedative wise, but it definitely did calm me. Like on the drive, like normal spots where I would have been like freaking out because my husband, like, I don't know, if he's getting too close to another car or something, I was totally fine with it. So I'm sure that was also nice for him to not have a backseat driver as well. So anyways, we got there and you have to get there 2 hours before the procedure. So we were there like at 12:15. Well, we were there a little bit before 12:15, and my surgery was booked for 2:15. And just a little quick rundown on why I got the procedure in case anyone's wondering. It was so like jump back to 2 years ago when I had my HSG x-ray that basically was just, it's an x-ray that you have done at the hospital with the radiologist and the doctor, and they put a catheter through your uterus and it shoots like blue dye, like iodine, through there, and they're watching this all on the x-ray as it's happening, and so it lights up your uterus and your tubes, and if the dye runs through your tubes, then your tubes are clear, open, there's no blockages. If the dye comes right back down and doesn't go through, then there's blockages and problems. So I had that done 2 years ago before I ever went on any fertility drugs, and the results came back that it was fine. Like I didn't have any blockages and nothing was wrong with my tubes or my uterus. And they also checked for the shape. And I do remember the doctor back then saying like, oh, there's like a slight heart-shaped, but no big deal. And I didn't think anything of it because the doctor said no big deal. So I said, okay, fine. There's no big deal. Then I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to Google. I'm not going to anything. Fast forward to when I had a 3D ultrasound done. Was it like a couple months ago? Maybe. It was in September. I had a 3D ultrasound done because this new fertility clinic doctor wanted to do to see the shape of my uterus and everything like that, because I guess the previous doctor never even wrote down what he suspected in his notes. Like there was no record of it. So I had that done and it showed that I had it showed in his eyes that I had like a heart-shaped uterus, or otherwise known as a subseptate uterus. And it's basically just a septum that divides your uterus. So when a uterus should be like a triangle shape, my uterus was more of a heart shape. So it had a dip in the top. This is bad because it can prevent an embryo from actually attaching to your uterine wall. It can fall, a fertilized egg can fall into the dip, and then it just becomes an early miscarriage. If you do get pregnant, you have a higher chance of having like a premature labor and a lot of just high risk things that can happen. So you're basically high risk the whole time. A lot of people that have septums have more of a chance of having a C-section versus vaginal delivery as well. So all these things are not good. Things that I would try to avoid if possible. I think any woman would try to avoid it. I don't see a lot of women that want to have like high risk pregnancies, and my sister had 2 C-sections because she had to because of her previous medical history, and it's just a harder recovery time, and I don't want that. So anyways, so it showed that I had a heart-shaped uterus, but they can't tell the full extent through an ultrasound. So basically this procedure was going in to see, first of all, the extent of the septum, and then when they're in there, they can remove it. So that's what I had that for. So anyways, we got there, and just my nerves were just going because we had a long wait before I even got like in to be prepped and everything. And then I found out that Chris, like my husband, wasn't even allowed, like once you cross the door to go get prepped and everything up into surgery, you're by yourself. Like you don't have, like they don't have the husbands and stuff like that go in there. So I was not so excited about that. But I had to put my big girl pants on. And every time a girl came out after like having something done, like, I mean, obviously we're not all in there for the exact same procedure, but Chris would be like, oh, it's okay, look, like she survived, she's okay. And I'm like, because the girls did not look good. Like, well, now I know that they were just like doped up. But I was like, they do not look like super, super good. So, but he was like, oh, they survived, they're fine, you'll come out of it. So anyways, time to go in for the prepping and get in there. And this is, by the way, this is the first time I've never had anything done in my life besides having my wisdom teeth out. I did have them out of an oral surgeon. I was kind of put to sleep or consciously sedated, but it was just like a mask that they put over me, like not laughing gas, but it was the same kind of thing. And then I fell asleep for like 5 minutes or whatever, and my wisdom teeth were out. So, but I never had anything that's like actual, like a legit surgery. So, the IV was fine. Like, I'm not a baby when it comes to getting my blood work done and everything. Obviously, you can't be when you're doing fertility stuff. You have to get so much blood work. But I was a little nervous about it because it's like, ugh, it's like a tube in your arm. That's like disgusting. But anyways, so I got the IV put in, and with relatively no struggle. She couldn't put it in my hand because my hands, apparently, they don't have good veins. But she put it in where I would like get blood work done, like in the crease of my arm, like my elbow area. And that was done. There wasn't a lot of pain. It just felt weird. And then I had to wait for the anesthesiologist to come in and go over everything with me. So he came in, and like I was getting like fluids, like a saline, I guess, drip or whatever, like while I was waiting, and like up into the surgery time. So he comes in, he goes over everything, and they almost like, he was kind of questioning even doing it because I have mild sleep apnea, like diagnosed mild sleep apnea, but I don't sleep with a CPAP. I hope it never gets to that point. And like, I don't know, like compared on the spectrum of like the mildest case to like the worst, I think I'm way on the mild side, but I still have to tell them everything. And he's kind of like humming and hawing, and then he's like, okay, yeah, we'll do it. So anyways, he leaves, and then my doctor, I love my doctor, by the way, like so much. He comes in and he goes over the procedure again, and then that's it, and it's time to go in. So he walks me in to the operating room. And that is when, like, pardon my French, but that's when, like, shit got crazy. And it just, I don't know, because it all just happened so fast. There were so many people in there, and it was kind of a little overwhelming. And so you get onto the operating table, and it's just, like, a bunch of people around you, like, strapping you into things, blah, 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 and my cat, it's actually really, really, really funny. So the light from my camera, or my phone, sorry, is bouncing off onto the wall, and she's like, it's the ultimate cheapest toy right now, right? She's just going crazy. But she needs exercise because she's a chubby cat, but I love her. So anyways, yeah, so they strap me all in. Like, strap me all in. They don't strap me all. Like, I get on the table, they strap me up to, like, blood pressure, heart monitor, all that kind of stuff. And basically then I get an oxygen mask put on me, and the anesthesiologist, like, standing above me, and he said, okay, well, you're going to go for a nap now. So I'm like, okay. Going into this, I thought I was going to be consciously sedated, but I wasn't. I was put out. I don't know what kind of that falls under, but I was put out. So then all of a sudden, this other nurse, she comes with this, like, extremely warm, cozy blanket, and she gets me all cozy and everything, and then it was basically lights out. The funny thing is that, I don't know, I had this, like, vision of, like, what I was scared about is, like, sorry to be gross, but a hysteroscopy it's all through your uterus. So you actually don't get any incision, you don't get any, there's no cuts, there's nothing like that. So it's all done through your vagina, your uterus. And I had this, like, fear of, like, being awake while they're, like, prepping you and, like, having, everything on display. But that was not the case. Like, I literally was all cozy, nothing was showing, like, in a blanket, and then I went to sleep. And then that is when they made you all, like, exposed. So I actually preferred that. So anyways, it's really funny too, because I tell Chris, like, I knew I felt like I was sleeping, but I totally, like, must have been what I dreamed about, or the happy place I went to, because I envisioned myself at home in bed with my kitties. Like, that's how that's just where I thought I was. Like, I thought I was, like, getting ready to nap in my bed at home, but I wasn't. I was there. So that was kind of weird. So anyways, they did it, and before I knew it, they were all kind of like, well, the anesthesiologist and, like, a nurse or something were, like, looking above me, like, okay, Lacy, wake up, we're done, and I woke up right away. A lot of, some of the other girls I know that day, because we were all, like, in the same recovery room, but just, like, with curtains dividing us, they were not so easy to, like, wake up and get conscious. So I don't know, but I came to really, really quick. So anyways, I get wheeled into recovery, and so when I first woke up, I felt like nothing. Like, because I obviously, like, just woke up, so I didn't feel any pain or anything like that. And by the way, like, from here on out, it's going to be a little TMI. So if you're a guy watching this, do not. If you're a family member that's like, oh, I don't want to know that much about her, then do not watch this. Like, do not watch my fertility stuff. And that's all I have to say about that. But my arm's getting so tired. So yeah. So anyways, I was wheeled into recovery, and right away, like, probably within 5 minutes of being in recovery, I just have, like, the most intense pain, like, I've ever had down there in my whole life, and my finger's in the way of the camera. So anyways, I have the most, like, intense pain I've ever had. I obviously have never had a baby, so I can't speak. But I am going to say, just from based on so many different people telling me how it feels, and then also just, like, watching shows and stuff like that, that would probably be the closest you'd ever come to feeling like early labor pain or something, because they say that it's like the worst period pains you've ever felt. And then they also say that there's lots of pressure, and there's also pressure like lower back pressure, and, like, the feeling that you have to make a bowel movement. And let me tell you, that's all what I had. Like, I had, like, the worst period pain I've ever felt in my whole life. And the lower back pain was, it was crazy. And I was so nervous that I was going to make a bowel movement. Like, that was my biggest fear, because I knew I couldn't, like, get out of the bed, but I was having, like, pressure, and I'm like, this is not good. And so anyways, though, but I kind of suffered in silence because I didn't want to be a baby. And like I said, there was other women there at the time, like other patients, and I'm not going to be, like, crying or anything. So I was, like, silently crying, and I had a couple tears, like, come down, and that's when the nurse came in, and she's just like, are you in pain? And I'm like, yeah. And then she's like, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, and at that point I said it was about 7, but it was like an 8 or 9, but I was like, I don't want to be a baby. And I even said that to her. I'm like, I don't want to be a baby. And she's like, oh, no, 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 honey, it's okay. Like, it's normal. So she's like, I'm going to give you something for the pain. So I don't know what I got for the pain, but it went right into my IV. And it took about 5 to 10 minutes for it to fully get into my system and for the pain to totally subside. So then after that, I didn't feel like any pressure. So I was so good. So I told Chris after too, I was like, I think that I might be getting an epidural when I have a baby, but I don't know. But all I can say is that it's the feeling that you have to go number 2. That's the worst feeling in the world. Like when you obviously can't and don't want to, like, anyways. So, after that, it was fine. There was 2 other women that came in, like, after that when because you're in recovery for about an hour or something, and those women were, I told her, they were so annoying. Like, I'm sorry. I know that they're in pain and stuff, and everyone deals with pain differently, and everyone feels pain differently, and I understand that, but they were, like, moaning and groaning, and there was only one nurse taking care of all of us, and so she was, like, running around making sure everyone's good. She was great, but they were, like, nurse, 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 like, all the time and stuff like that, and, like, just, like, complain, like, oh, my stomach, my stomach, my stomach, and I'm like, girl, I know I've been there, but, like, can you just kind of, like, shut up a little? And maybe that's really mean to say, but it was, like, kind of frustrating. Like, I don't know, because they were right beside me. So, anyways, after, like I said, like, close to an hour or whatever, they call my husband, because they call them a little bit before I'm actually going to be released from recovery, and to make sure that he's back, like, he's there and everything, because they tell them that they can kind of go wherever during the surgery time. He just went and had a nap in the car to wait for the call. So, yeah, so anyways, then they get you up and you have to go to the washroom and, you know, clean up, get dressed. And this is another TMI, so again, like, I hope you find this as hilarious as my husband did, because anyways, when I got in there, okay, like, I know that they use, like, the iodine or whatever, like, to clean everything, like, before surgery, right? Like, that's normal. But, like, I wasn't expecting that when TMI, that when I, like, pulled, like, off my gown, literally I looked like what I would assume Marge Simpson looks like from, like, you know, the hips down. Like, it was just, like, yellow, nasty, antiseptic, whatever stuff, like, all over. And they didn't actually, this isn't one bad thing, they didn't actually give me anything to really, like, clean it with. And, like, who wants to put on their street, like, you know, their underwear, their clothes with that kind of stuff on? So, anyways, I freaking used, like, 1,000 paper towels to try to, like, get as much of it off as I could, because I didn't want to put my clothes on, like, with that stuff on me, and tried to do my best. And I had a little bit of bleeding after, and they said that it can kind of go from, like, little bit to, like, medium amount, but if it gets too bad, that, like, during your recovery, then that's not good. Like, then something's not right. So far I've only had spotting occasionally, and then I also feel like I've had, like, the saline, because that's what they use to like, I guess, open up all your cavities down there when they're doing the surgery so they can see. They don't use gas or air like they do in a laparoscopic. They use saline. So that was good. So I don't have that the shoulder pain or anything that you would have if you had a laparoscopic and had the gas in. So anyways, then I had to wait to the doctor for him to, like, basically do a quick rundown of everything that he saw before I left. So he came over, I got an apple juice, and had listened to him. Basically, he said that, so when he got in there, and this is what confuses me the most, because my septum was very visible on the ultrasound. But when he got in there, and this is what happens sometimes, my septum was, like, of no concern. Like, he said that it was basically so shallow, that was his word, like, it was so little that there was no removing it or anything that needed to be done. It would have been unnecessary to make an incision and do something like that for something that is so small, because if it's that small, they don't want to hit the uterine wall that is above that, if that makes any sense, because then that can do permanent damage to your fertility. So he did see something in there, though, that concerned him, and I mean, I still don't know what's in his head, what he's thinking it is. And of course, all I can do is Google. And when you Google, you get like worst case scenarios. So that's not good. But he said that the uterine lining had like a strawberry like pattern, I guess. It was really red with white like dots, like a strawberry. So when I Google, I got like all kinds of things. One of the things I got was endometrial hyperplasia, and that does not sound good. I don't know, you guys can Google it. I forget all about it. All I know is that anytime you Google something, you're gonna get all the worst cases. It's just what makes me nervous. So anyways, he took a sample of that, and it's gonna be sent off to be biopsied to see what it exactly we're working with. But what makes me upset about this whole thing, and I'm not gonna cry because I have the ugliest freaking cry, is that when I went into this surgery, I was really optimistic. Even though I was scared, I was thinking, okay, they're just gonna remove the septum, and then we'll have like so much of a greater chance to try to have our baby. And then coming out, it was like, okay, well, your septum's not really the problem, but now we're gonna biopsy this. It's like I don't have answers, and that is kind of frustrating and makes me scared, because what if it comes back and it's like, you know, you don't have a habitable uterus? Like, what if I'm literally Monica from Friends, like my sister always said I was like, what if I'm the epitome of her and I can never carry my own baby? Like, that terrifies me to my core. Like, that's the one thing that I want in my life. Like, that's the one thing that, like, I want so bad. And to not be able to do that is, like, absolutely terrifying. And so I'm getting emotional, and that's another thing. I'm like so emotional after the freaking like anesthetic and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. But anyways, just an update. I'm doing relatively okay. Sorry that this probably wasn't the best video ever, but I just wanted to let everything about the surgery kind of come out before I forgot it. So, yeah. So we have to wait tomorrow, I think. So it's 2 days after the surgery. Tomorrow, my nurse is calling me to see how I am, how I'm doing, and I don't know if she'll give me any information then, but I know that the doctor said 2 weeks we'll have a follow-up. So I guess just now waiting, like always, like in this journey, just wait. But I really hope it's nothing too bad, and I hope that we can get there to our baby. So anyways, thanks for watching. Bye.